Speaking of happy guys, boy, there were a lot of happy guys if you happen to go to school up in Ames, Iowa, because boy, oh boy, what a game we had last night. That's about as exciting as you can get, regardless of which team you are rooting for. I don't know, you can't get any closer than this. It looked like the Hawks had the Cyclones' number at the beginning of the game, Larry Cotlar and Tony Atzeni.
Well, it did, and Utah goes off for 30 in the first half.
Unreal. Guy was lights out.
Yeah, he was hitting everything in sight. But I know that this is, my wife, Deb, she's a Hawkeye. She went to the University of Iowa.
Okay.
Well, okay. Anyway, she said to me, Iowa better get a big lead in the first half because we all know how Iowa State has a propensity to come back. Think about the Big 12 tournament last year. Come from like 19 down against Oklahoma and 17 against Kansas. Yeah. They have a way of doing it because they never panic.
Even at halftime, the ESPN commentators, both of them were saying, you know something, this game is not over.
Right.
And one of them even said, you know something, the Cyclones might have the Hawks right where they want them.
Yeah, and it was as quiet as Hilton could be for the first half and part of the second half till about 8-10 minutes to go. They finally woke up as they chipped that lead under double digits. But Matt Thomas last night, in his first half, kept Iowa State within 15 because without him, they were buried. And in the second half, his defense on Utah, whether Utah got timid or Matt Thomas played great defense when he was guarding him, I mean, they shut Utah down. Matt Thomas had a fantastic game off the bench last night for the Cyclones.
And Fran McCaffrey said after the game about Utah that he did get timid, that he all of a sudden became tentative. And that's the thing that a couple of years ago he was like that. But now he's supposed to be a leader, and I'm not laying this all on him. I mean, it's a team effort. But it seemed to me at the end of the game, Iowa was taking an awful lot of outside shots. I don't know why you don't just go inside, get some fouls, go to the free throw line, eat up some clock, but why are you taking outside shots when you're up 8 and 10?
Right. Now you're talking Utah for the first half of the game. Really he was getting the ball, boom, shooting it,
right,
and it was going in. And the second half it looked like he was getting the ball and then thinking about it,
right, and then passing it off. And it's great to pass. I mean, it's great to share the basketball, but when you're the hot hand, you got to take that shot. Got to take that shot. So, look, and it's one of those things you can look at. Did Iowa State win it? Did Iowa lose it? I always think it's a combination of the two. Because you have to give Iowa State credit. It wasn't just Iowa gave it away.
But then Utah had the last shot, though.
Yeah, and Iowa State adjusted in the second half. Truthfully, they were playing one-on-one basketball, offensive concept. In the second half, they started sharing the basketball, and that changed everything. Iowa couldn't catch up with them. That extra pass is getting the guy an open look, and Iowa State started hitting their shots. And, you could see it coming. I mean, Iowa's defense was not catching up to them on the perimeter, and Iowa State started hitting those shots. Other than Matt Thomas in the first half, getting his open look, everybody else is playing muddy one-on-one basketball and just wasn't working.
Something else that jumped out, and I'm not sure if you noticed this yesterday too. Did you notice Iowa State's new coach kind of sat back and let the team take care of it? Did you know? I thought that was really cool that Prom did that.
What I noticed as a Hawkeye fan, and I haven't watched much this year, I've been kind of caught up in football, but they're a lot better than I thought they would be. I mean, to go to Hilton and take it to Iowa State like that.
Well, here's and Prom said after the game, he told the team at halftime, he says, you guys have been there before. You know what you're doing because you've been behind before. But here's the key numbers here. 17 turnovers for Iowa, and I think it was Gary Dolphin said after the game, and I forget exactly the numbers, but points off turnovers were like 31-17 or 31-12 or some kind of crazy number. And turnovers will kill you. They'll absolutely kill you, and that's what they did to Iowa, among other things last night.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so there you have it. Clones pull out a squeaker by 1 point.
That they do.
Right.
Hilton magic once again. Never
That's
fails.
true. And then, for example, like Iowa doesn't play again until next Saturday. Of course, the Bulldogs get them after they're angry. That's Saturday. Great. That's just what we need. Right.
And what about the Clones? What's next for them?
Well, playing Arkansas Pine Bluff. So it should be an easy win for them. I mean, you would think so.
Yeah.
And, of course, I'm decked out because we're getting on a plane here pretty quick.
You're leaving from here to go.
We're going to Reno. Which I just saw on your weathercast. Now I looked last night. I always look to see because I got to know how to dress. Isn't there snow up there?
Yeah, that's why you have a light jacket on. I like that.
Sweatshirt.
I would imagine in the higher elevations nearby for sure. Yeah, I would think. Reno itself, I don't know, but yeah, definitely get.
So we're heading out to Reno to play the Wolfpack and try to break a 2-game losing streak. And then Northern Iowa is going out to the Pit, which is New Mexico.
Got it.
Which is always a tough place to win.
Right.
That's why they call it the Pit. But they're coming off a real nice win over George Mason the other day. They needed that win desperately. They had a tough loss to Richmond, so they're coming off that one, and they're going to George Mason. So, and then everybody gets ready for the Big Four Classic the following weekend, where it's going to be Drake and Iowa in the first game at 3:30, and following that, it's going to be UNI and Iowa State in the nightcap.
And of course, Iowa State Redux, the women play tonight, so
That's right.
that
That's
rivalry
right.
continues the Cyhawk series. So keep an eye on that at Iowa State. Northern Iowa taking on Akron in some women's action, and Drake against Avila. So
I think they're in Kansas somewhere.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
I think that's
then there's a little
fine.
football still going on. You know, you got the Northern Iowa Panthers playing North Dakota State, which is becoming their rivals, and they lost to them by 3 this year at Fargo. 2 years ago, they had a big lead and they lost that game up at Fargo, but they beat them last year and they snapped their long winning streak at the Dome. So,
and it's going to be fun tomorrow on my show on AM 1350 ESPN Radio, our Central Iowa Sports Saturday show. I'll have Gary Dolphin talking about the Rose Bowl and, of course, last night's Iowa State game. And, of course, then I'll also be talking to Brad Bjorken, the former Urbandale High School coach. He's over at Simpson College, his first year coaching college basketball. We'll have him on. And Gary Dolphin's going to join, of course, I told you about that. Gary Rhyme is going to join me to talk about the UNI Panthers and their football playoff game.
What time is your show on?
8 to 10 every Saturday morning on 1350 ESPN. So hope everybody starts joining us. Our first show was last week. We'll have a couple weeks break during the Christmas holidays and the New Year's holidays, but after that we'll be back on full time from 8 to 10 every Saturday morning. But we've got 2 more weeks, then we take a break, and then we get back at it again.
and were you all worn out by?
Oh no, I love every minute of it. Of course, we cover, and of course, we'll have a lot of Iowa high school girls and boys basketball coverage. We'll talk to coaches each and every week, one from the girls, one from the boys side, each and every week. Absolutely on that. So it's going to be fun. And here in the Central Iowa area, a lot of good high school basketball to be played, and I'm sure we're going to see quite a few of those teams over at the Wells Fargo Arena come end of February, early March. So we'll keep an eye on that. And I'll have my rankings up as well with Facebook and Twitter. Atzeni Tony is where you can follow me on Twitter each week. I did the girls rankings last week, the initial one. I'll put my initial boys rankings out this week along with the girls. It's every Sunday. So.
Okay, number 1 team in the state for the girls.
Right now I've got Johnston, but I think it's wide open. Yeah, Johnston was very young last year. They made that state tournament run. Waukee, West Des Moines Valley, Ankeny Centennial. Indianola moved from 4A to 5A this year. Dowling Catholic, the usual suspects, even Southeast Polk. There's a bunch of girls teams right here in Central Iowa that are going to be really, really good. Ballard and Dallas Center Grimes are going to be solid in the 4A field. And Mason City is part of the CIML, but a little farther north in our Central Iowa region, but they have a talented team too. And in fact, they beat Valley this week 60-59, so they're going to be really solid as well. Nevada, the defending champs in 3A will be good, and Van Meter, watch out for them in the Class 1A field because they're having a good start, 2A field. They're having a good start. I think they've got some nice young talent too. So a couple teams, and the boys will get it going now because they've only played a couple games. I wait till I get at least 3 or 4 or 5 games under them before I start doing rankings. Let them get a base under them, and then we'll go with it. So
all right.
Sure.
So Cotman, when can we listen to the game with you later on today?
Well, it'll be 6 o'clock on Saturday night against Nevada, not Nevada, but Nevada.
And then, of course, your radio show every week on 1350.
Right. We had Gary Rhyme on last night. We had Dennis Dodd from CBSSports.com. We had Sage Rosenfels on last night, and Katie Fenzel from the Des Moines Sports Commission. So we're both on 1350 ESPN.
There you go. Sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Special mention, real quick, Hoops for Troops Night, December 18th with the Iowa Energy, supporting our military. Anybody with a military ID, $5 tickets, and anybody you bring with them, whether it's 1 or 20 or 30, their tickets are also $5 on Hoops for Troops Night.
And where are you going to be tonight?
Tonight? Where am I? Oh, I'm going to be at Jolly Holiday Lights tonight with my granddaughter.
In case you say, hey, there's 2 Santas here. Yeah, it's Atzeni. So enjoy the beard while you can. Is it coming off after tonight?
Probably.
Probably. All right. Well, we'll find out next week when he's here. Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll see you.